Colorado, great segue. Dive into with these quarterbacks playing musical chairs this past weekend. They played 3, Chev.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenarios out there. Matt didn't come on today. He was going to talk about it. I was going to get his take. I know he had a show about it. I guess.
I think Coach
Prime mentioned it, Chev, already. Didn't he mention it pre-game that I'm going to play multiple guys before they even played?
I think obviously, Shedeur, they lost Shedeur to the NFL, and so they brought Salter in. They have Juju, who's a highly regarded 5-star kid. I think that Coach Prime, when you're a head coach, you're going to play the guy that gives you the best chance to win games. And obviously something that he saw in practice with the third guy, Staub, and he performed, And so Coach Prime's trying to find, hey, who is going to move the offense, who's going to score points, and who's going to create explosive plays down the field. And I think Coach Prime, thought that it was time to give him an opportunity. And hats off to the kid. The kid went in there and was explosive. I think he threw 2 touchdown passes. He had over 150 yards passing. And so, I think, Coach Prime's trying to figure out who their quarterback is. And it's early in the football season. So if you want to find out, you can find out early. And so, they probably got a little bit of a quarterback controversy. But I think in Coach Prime's mind, he don't have a controversy. He's going to play the guy he wants to play. So,
I got an interesting take on this guy. I might break the internet. I want to throw this out to both of you because I've coached the QB position. Chev, you've coached it. I played it. You've been around it. You're OC first, head coach now. You're doing both. I did both. There's no way you can sit here and tell me straight face, not to Chev, but anybody, that this kid Schaub wasn't already showing me he's legit throughout fucking spring and summer. There's just no way you're sitting here telling me. And now I got an argument and I want to bring it up. I have a serious issue as to why was Julian the guy that I took to the media day? Why was these other guys the guy I've been putting on the forefront? And now this kid I throw in there and he balls out. And now I got a serious question. This guy had to have been balling in practice.
Yeah.
And I'm curious.
He probably was, though, JB, but it's just like you got to look at it this way. It's like when you sign a free agent quarterback in the offseason.
Clicks and likes.
Sign him to a big signing bonus, or you draft a kid in the second round.
Right.
You got to give those guys opportunities first. And so I'm sure Salter, they gave him probably a really good NIL package, right? Juju, they probably gave him a great NIL package, right? So, Schaub, they probably didn't give him much. He's probably, lower on the totem pole as far as what he's getting, as far as his package within, NIL. And so I'm sure Coach Prime had to do what he thought was, the right thing to do, which, okay, let's give Salter a chance, give Juju a chance. And now, hey, maybe the third guy is the best guy. Maybe this guy has been lighting up in camp and been lighting up and say, hey, hats off to Coach Prime, because some coaches probably would have waited a couple more games before they made that decision. So I thought it was a good decision by the guy, and it's obviously sparked the offense, and they got a good win at home. So,
the only issue I had with his presser was he said, he kind of took all the credit for saying that I knew this guy was this guy, blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there like, if you knew he was the guy, he should have been probably playing already, or you would have already had him in the game. That's the one issue I had with Prime's media today, because this kid stuck it out and stayed.
Well, there's 10 more games, though, too, JB. There's 10 more games to play, and there's still conference opponents to be played. And so
let's dive into that 10 games. I want to dive into it real quick with Colorado, because haven't you opened Pandora's box now with 3 QBs telling my team that we don't have one? What's the rationale here?
Well, when you win, it's okay.
It is.
It's not a problem right now. It's a problem.
But is it though with the individual though in the NIL era where they can just enter the portal right now because now somebody's disgruntled?
Well, you'll end up losing one eventually. You can't keep 3. Now you should be able to keep 2. Sometimes you can't keep 2 in this era, and they got obviously some good tough games coming up. They got
Houston's going to be tough.
Houston on the road is going to be tough. They got Wyoming obviously at home. They got BYU at home. And they got to go on the road to TCU. They got to go, on the road and play in Ames against Iowa State.
Utah.
Looks like they're at home against Iowa State. They got to go on the road at Utah, which is a tough place to play. Home against Arizona, at West Virginia, which is a tough place to play. I played there, coached there. And then obviously home against Arizona State. And then Kansas State's been struggling a little bit this year. Arizona State's coming off a loss. But, there's 10 games early in the season. I think if you're going to find out who your quarterback is, JB, as you know, let's find out in non-conference. They still got a couple more games in non-conference. So trying to figure it out. I guess the Houston now is it's different, but I think they're going to decide. I think they're going to decide who's going to be the starter this week going to play Houston. That's my opinion.
My biggest thing, I guess, my only concern is that let's say this cat, let's say he goes out here against Houston and he doesn't look like great, right? He has like a kind of one of those off games. If you're Coach Prime, like, you got to stick with your guns at some point, right? Like you can't just keep rotating every time a guy doesn't play up to par and go back to. So now you go back to Salter now, and then Salter finish out.
Well, I mean, Steve Spurrier did it. Steve Spurrier used to rotate him every drive. So I mean,
let me ask you this, Chev. This is Chalk Talk Monday with Darrin Chiaverini. Make sure you guys follow him on X. Northeastern State University head football coach, 1-1 currently on the season. We'll be tracking him all year long as he's rebuilding a program in front of our very eyes, which will be fascinating because Coach will be a big-time head coach again very soon. Here's the thing, Coach. I want to ask, how are we repping these three guys, though, Smitty and Coach Chev? How are we going to rep them now, though? This is where I'm getting into the issue. Now I'm going to throw them out there to Smitty's question and point. Oh, now he doesn't do well. Well, how do we know what the structure was at practice? How are they going to do well if we have three guys sharing first-team reps, which is an impossibility?
I mean, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I'm not a betting man, but if I was a betting man,
disclaimer,
I would say that they're going to rep Salter and then Shaw. And they're going to have conversations with Juju, like, look, we're going to develop you. You're going to be the quarterback of the future, but for right now, we're gonna rep these veteran guys. If that's what I'd be thinking if I was, the head coach. That's because you can't rep three quarterbacks with the ones. You can't do it. Just not enough reps in practice to do it that way. So I think there's going to be two guys taking the bulk of the ones, and then there'll be some guy, probably Juju, taking the reps with the twos. Let
me ask you this, though. Now that the NIL era is here and it's the NFL model, and we have a model where if we've had all these NFL guys on the show and Herm Edwards broke it down and said, listen, if I'm the head football coach in Cleveland and we have three quarterbacks, Shador, Flacco, and Pickett, all on equal grounds, I'm playing Shador Sanders because he's the rookie draft pick. This is the same thing, right? Because if you don't play this freshman, isn't he leaving?
He might be leaving, but, Coach Prime is going to play the quarterback that gives him the best chance to win. I mean, that's what a head coach has got to do. I mean, that, JB, especially in today's day and age where, like, man, you have a bad year. They get rid of you now. They're not going to get rid of Coach Prime if he has a bad year, but because he just signed that extension. But coaches want to win.
You're coaching, Chev. You're coaching. So I don't know if you've watched. You play on the same days for the most part. And you're practicing all day, so it's hard to watch other teams. We know how that is. I didn't watch college or NFL football for 20 years coaching because it's just not. We're working. So I don't know if you've seen them, but what though, are these three guys fairly equal as far as the talent, the skill set, and the upside? Because if they are, then I got to look at it.
I think that the young kid obviously probably has the most potential. No question. But it's hard for true freshman quarterbacks, as you know, JB, to step into four-year level Power 4 football and play at a very high level. It's just hard. It's hard to do. And it's not that the kid's not talented. It's just that the speed of the game is so much faster. Their learning curve is so much harder. And you want guys with experience to go to war with you on Saturdays. And so I'm not saying that Juju is not going to be an unbelievable player, which he already is. Maybe just hasn't gotten the reps in a game situation yet. But now they're starting to get through some of these first couple games, and now you're starting to play some really tough teams. I think Coach Prime is going to go with the quarterback that gives him the best chance to win. But also, you got to be very transparent as a head coach in today's day and age. And so, I'm a head coach, and even though I'm a head coach at a Division II level, I got to have conversations daily with our quarterbacks, our running backs, our receivers, our tight ends, our defensive linemen, our linebackers, because every game is different. Every game, someone else gets the football as opposed to someone else. And then there's egos and there's situations where guys are upset because they're not getting their touches or a guy's not playing as much on defense. And so Coach Prime's a very smart guy. He is. He's very savvy. I'm sure he's going to bring those quarterbacks in, sit them down one by one and say, hey, this is what your plan is for you. This is what the future is for you. And you got to do that as a coach or you'll lose them. And once you lose them, then they will jump in the portal. You know.
How's my baby doing, man? Donnie, Donovan Smith is quarterback there with Coach Chev. Great kid, family friend of mine. Been coaching him since he was a little kid. You're impressed with him. I know we talked privately.
I am impressed with them. I'm impressed with them. You know, his first start at a 4-year level, went on the road against Saginaw, threw for over 300 yards, threw for 310 yards in his first collegiate start. You know, second game, I thought he played well. You know, he had the one turnover that would cost us a little bit in that third quarter. But as you know, JB, he's going to keep getting better the more he plays. The more he sees defenses, the more he sees pitchers change on him, the more he goes through his read progression, the more he understands coverages at this level. You know, the more time we spend with him in the film room and looking at coverages and looking at what defenses are trying to do to attack you, he's going to get better. And I've been very pleased with him. He's over, I think, 67% completion percentage his first 2 games. He has the one turnover in 2 games, and he's been explosive in the pass game. And he'll start getting rolling more on touchdown passes and as we get going through the season. But I've been very pleased with his decision making. And I've been very pleased with his development to this point, and he'll continue to get better.